Today, I am taking on Sydney's oldest parkrun. Sydney has 35 parkruns in total now, but this is where it all began way back in 2012. The question is, does Sydney's oldest parkrun still hold up today?
Good morning everyone. This week I am in the inner west of Sydney at the very first parkrun in town, the OG. Amanda was first in the comments last week, so here I am, right on schedule. Because the location is nice and close to the city, I have the ability to be able to strong-arm people to join me. I've managed to convince a friend to do their very first parkrun, so stick around and we'll see if he survived it. I hear there's a decent sized hill at this parkrun. Maybe I should have taken him to a flatter course. Oh well, it's character building. City to surf tomorrow, so not going too hard today. Nice leisurely Saturday morning jog. Hopefully some beautiful views. One more step to completing this challenge. Let's go.
St. Peter's Parkrun began way back in 2012, and while it isn't the oldest parkrun in Australia, that title goes to Main Beach on the Gold Coast. It does get the title for oldest parkrun in Sydney and New South Wales. Located in the legendary Sydney Park in inner city Sydney, St. Peter's Parkrun starts at 8 AM, and I for one am extremely thankful for the extra 30 minutes of sleep this morning. I enjoyed every second of it, and I will enjoy the quick commute back home to my castle after this parkrun is done. Access here is simple, with both parking available and plenty of public transport options, so this one is getting top marks in the accessibility category. Despite living in Sydney for 4 years and spending the first 3 years here in the inner west, I've never actually run this parkrun before, having been a big Greenway fanboy and going there every week. So I have been quietly looking forward to this one. The briefing was right on cue and we lined up with a fairly stacked crowd this morning. With City to surf on tomorrow, there are plenty of running tourists around, and I bet Parama and Centennial were also much more busier than usual today. St. Peter's boasts one of the more unusual course layouts that I've seen so far on this challenge. Most parkruns are either an out and back layout or laps of a smaller path. However, St. Peter's was the kid at school that decided to be different to everyone else and tell their parents that it definitely isn't a phase. It starts with the first loop around the east side of the park and features a sizable hill before heading back past the starting area, and finishes by completing 2 loops of the west side of the park before returning once again to the starting point to finish your 5 kilometres. Despite there being some seriously fast runners who show up here on a regular basis, this course is probably not recommended for a PB attempt. The hill that defines this parkrun appears about 1 kilometre into the run and is a decent elevation which will slow down even the most seasoned parkrun veterans a significant amount. Apparently putting the biggest hill 1 kilometre into a parkrun is the perfect course design. Just ask this scientician. He'll tell you that your legs are supposed to be burning 1 kilometre into a run. I do, however, much prefer it to be 1 kilometre in than kilometre 4 though, and it really brings me back to my fond, sweet memories of Wildflower and Cronulla's big hills. It's been a solid few weeks since I've been subjected to a hilly parkrun. My wonderful viewers are so kind to me. Anyone keen to comment below and send me to Mount Annan? By the end of St. Peter's though, you will have been around the majority of the park and seen some amazing views of the skyline and greenery, but it definitely needs a lot of marshals and arrows guiding the way because you can easily get lost in here. The views along the course at the top of the hills were absolutely the highlight of this parkrun. It's one of those mornings where Sydney was showing off its beauty like the Instagram influencer that it is. Looking across the park with the city skyline in the background helped distract me from the fact I've just dragged myself up that hill. Because of the unusual layout, there was something always happening around the course, and I was passing heaps of runners heading in different directions, volunteers cheering everyone on, and occasionally finding myself wondering whether the person I was next to was about to finish or had only just started. One thing I really noticed was the atmosphere. Even with a bigger crowd than I've become used to over the last few weeks, it never felt overwhelming. There were volunteers everywhere, plenty of encouragement out on the course, and because runners were constantly crossing paths with each other, there was always someone to cheer on or someone cheering you on. It made the whole event feel incredibly alive. Coming into the finish line, the fantastic volunteers were encouraging and offering support to all the runners as usual. It doesn't matter whether you're first across the line or bringing up the rear, you get exactly the same enthusiasm, and that's something parkrun has always done incredibly well. I thought St. Peter's was going to be one of those parkruns that people recommended because of its location and longevity. After all, being Sydney's oldest parkrun in one of the most popular parks in Sydney is a pretty cool title to have, and I assume that was the main reason it had become such a popular event over the years. This isn't a parkrun that's still popular because it was first. It's popular because it's genuinely good. The course is interesting. Sydney Park is a great location. The atmosphere was brilliant this morning, and despite that hill trying its absolute best to make me question my life choices, I really enjoyed every minute of it. I also think this challenge keeps proving again and again that you can't judge a parkrun by its reputation alone. Every week I seem to arrive with an idea in my head of what the morning is going to be like, and every week another parkrun comes along and completely changes my mind. It's something I am loving more and more each week. I have lived here in Sydney for 4 years and always had an idea in my head for different parkruns I've never been to. On every single occasion I have been wrong. This is a common trend in my life in general. You never know what's quite waiting for you around the corner until you finally drag yourself to the course. I also managed to convince Lewis to come along and finally do his first ever parkrun. This is a big moment, and I only had to lightly threaten him to get him down here. So let's see whether he has now caught the parkrun bug.
So Lewis, you just did your very first parkrun, but this is not the first time I've tried to drag you to a parkrun, and you've had plenty of excuses previously. I distinctly remember you not being able to come last time due to a spin class. What do you have to say for yourself?
The rumours are true. I have used every single excuse in the sun. I was in New York, I had a spinning class, my dog needed to go to the vet, but you finally dragged me to one, and I had so much fun. It was great.
Thanks for finally coming down. Now that you've actually done one, was it what you expected or completely different?
To be honest, it was a little bit different. I didn't expect to have the level of community. It was really nice when they first started. They gave a couple of shout outs, where people's from. It was really nice and such a fun vibe and very inclusive. You don't have to be a good runner to turn up, and I'm a testament to that.
If someone watching this has been thinking about trying parkrun but keeps talking themselves out of it, what would you say to them?
Go and do it. It is so much less scary than you expect. You feel amazing on a Saturday morning and you get coffee afterwards.
Amazing. And will you be back for another parkrun soon, or will I have to drag you kicking and screaming to Greenway when I'm summoned there?
I will be back, but we will also go to Greenway, I promise. And thank you for dragging me today.
And another one of our mutual friends, Danny, has promised to come to Greenway as well, so we'll see her there.
Amazing. We'll see you there, Danny.
You're a natural on the camera, Lewis. Thanks very much.
Lewis is an absolute legend, and congratulations on your first parkrun. Hopefully many more to come. So, does Sydney's oldest parkrun still hold up? Absolutely. Once something has been around for more than a decade, it's easy for people to recommend it simply because it's always been there. But after finally running St. Peter's, I don't think that's why people keep coming back. If this exact course launched tomorrow as a brand new parkrun, I honestly think it'd still become one of Sydney's most popular events. The history might get a few people through the gate for the first time, but it's the location, the atmosphere, and the course itself that make people want to come back. Sydney Park is a fantastic place to spend a Saturday morning. Being so close to the city makes it incredibly accessible, the views across the skyline are brilliant, and the course has enough variety to keep things interesting the whole way around. It's not one of those parkruns where you're staring at the same stretch of path over and over again. Every section feels a little different, and before you know it, you're heading down the finishing straight, wondering where the last 5 kilometers went. Now, if you're chasing a personal best, I'd probably steer you towards somewhere else instead. That opening hill is no joke, and your legs are screaming about it by the time you reach the top. But it's nice to have some variety sometimes, and I've had 4 weeks of pretty much flat courses, so it was time I suffered up a hill. St. Peter's has character, history, and an amazing vibe, and that's where its strengths lie. One thing this challenge keeps teaching me is that the best parkrun depends entirely on what you're looking for. Centennial had an amazing feel at 7 AM as the sun was rising. Rudy Hill is where you go if you want to chase a fast time. Cronulla and Wildflower are where you go if you want a challenge. And now St. Peter's has reminded me that being first doesn't mean you're outdated. Sometimes there's a reason something has stood the test of time. If you're visiting Sydney, I'd put this right near the top of your list. You get to experience the event that started Parkrun in New South Wales, but more importantly, you get a genuinely enjoyable morning run with a fantastic community and a course that's unlike anything else I've run so far on this challenge. Another token collected, another fantastic Saturday morning, and we're one step closer to completing every parkrun in Sydney. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit subscribe. There are still plenty of Sydney parkruns left to explore, plenty more amazing people to meet, and plenty more Simpsons references to weave into these videos. Maybe I'll even throw in a Seinfeld reference at some point. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If the first half of this challenge has taught me anything, it's to expect the unexpected.
So that was St. Peter's Parkrun, another token collected, another Saturday morning well spent, and somehow we're almost halfway done on this Sydney Parkrun challenge. Special City to Surf video coming in the next couple of days, depending on my motivation levels. But apart from that, I'll see you at the next parkrun as well, wherever that may be. Have a great week.